Now, brother Carl, I'm gonna go ahead and give you your flowers because I was going across the internet the other day on CBS.com and I got your story. I got your article and I read it. Beautiful article. What's next for black representation in college football coaching? Key figures weigh in, admit slight increase. Now, Carl, this is what I got. The numbers just jump out the gym. 8,151 black players to 134 coaches in college in the FBS level. That's only 8% of coaches that look like you and I are representing 48.9% of black players in the locker room. Now, with that said, okay, this is what I'm trying to get to when I read your article. And this is what I got from it. We aren't seeing black coaches being able to elevate and take that step. Why is that such a hard thing for us to get to, and only having 8% of coaches that are black in college football right now in 2024?
If you get into it, you don't get into an elevator on the fourth floor to go to floor 8. You have to start at the ground floor, which is floor 1. And I think the biggest thing regarding black coaches and why there's so much of a struggle is many young guys do not know the barrier for entry into the profession. Most guys that are playing major college football that I talk to, they are dreaming of the National Football League. So what happens is they end up spending the majority of their 20s chasing playing football. When they don't get drafted, when they don't make a roster, they want to go play arena ball. They'll go play semi-pro ball. They'll go play ball in Japan. So now they end up 30, 32. They got a wife. They got 2 kids. They can't afford at that point to go be a GA and work the entry-level jobs. So they're not able to get in at the point of entry. They don't have a sense of what am I going to do when I don't make it to the league, right? I'm not going to the NFL. I've got my evaluation back. The scouts are telling me I'm not a draft pick. My head coach is telling me I'm not a draft pick. But I did get the education, which is what every parent tells you they want from their kid when they go to college. That's often we find out that that's not the most important thing to them. That's not the truth. So they're not educated and or willing to be a graduate assistant or start off in a low-level analyst job. The spaces that you need to do to work your way up and build the relationships that you need to build in order to climb through the coaching ranks so you can be in some of those key positions, because most of them spend their time chasing football. And it's not just coaching. You can be an agent. You can be in media like us. There's a lot of lanes within football where you can have success, and guys have to be able to accept when they're not going to the National Football League. And if they were to go online, you see what these coaches are making. You can still buy your mom a house and take care of your family in a major way by coaching the game of football.
Well, Carl, just being a former player myself and having the opportunity to play a few years in the pros, but then getting back into coaching, the evaluation process, and also the front office, and now in the media space, a lot of the times what doesn't happen is we don't understand, like, there's no pipeline. And when I say by pipeline is there's no mentoring from the older black coaches or the older executive black to get young people in line to do what we have to do. So a lot of the times you're left out in the dark trying to see the light. And most of us that are young, and we've both been young, believe that we already have all the answers to every single scenario that happens. And oftentimes that's not the case. And I just thought that the issue with it is that we want to get somewhere, but we aren't willing to take the steps. But even with those steps, we don't know what those steps look like or what we're supposed to do to gain those steps. Now, are there any ways that you believe that we can fix this or help alleviate this problem of getting to being a quarterback coach, an O-line coach, getting into the front office, and also being an evaluator?
I think that relationships are very important. Mike Locksley and Alonzo Carter. Mike Locksley, the head coach at the University of Maryland. Alonzo Carter, the running back coach at the University of Arizona. They started the National Coalition of Minority Coaches, which has been a great tool for everybody in terms of networking and having forums. The convention that they had out in Las Vegas. I was able to be in attendance. I am a member of the coalition. So you were able to have sessions with search firms, with athletic directors, with NFL execs. So you are able to build relationships and kind of get in front of the people that you need to get in front of. And Coach Loxley and Carter and the guys on the executive board in that group are always willing to network. You have to put yourself out there a little bit in terms of taking away and saying, I don't necessarily know everything, and I definitely don't know everybody. I need to make sure that I put myself in the proper room and in the proper position so I can be seen. A lot of people always say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, that's not totally true, Smoke. It's also who knows you, because you want people thinking of you when those positions come open.
Absolutely.
He's
Now,
1
I'm
minute.
often asked at the end of the day, should college football adopt the Rooney Rule? My answer is absolutely not. And you touched on a little bit in your article of the Rooney Rule, for the most part, what it's turned into is checking the box. Just saying, yep, I interview a minority. Now I can hire who I want to hire. What's your thoughts on that, Carl?
I'm not a fan of the Rooney Rule for that exact same reason. It's turned into just getting a guy in front of somebody so you can move on and do what you want. I think that we have to work on a holistic view of getting coaches in position to take some of those jobs. And what I found out, Smoke, is that a lot of coaches that I talk to, and that's why I'm excited about our guest today, but a lot of coaches that I've talked to, there's a fear of them of hiring too many minorities when they do get a job. So they're not always willing to keep that door open after they go through it, because they are nervous about how they'll be judged if it doesn't work out for them in that respect.
So it's almost like you get left behind, even though somebody's pushed forward to help you in that process of it. Now, you also touch a little bit on the positions that we aren't being hired at, meaning blacks. That's the offensive line coach, quarterback coach. How do we get every black DB that played DB not to go after the black DB job, running back coach, D line coach, or the defensive coordinator?
Education. I had a conversation with Ryan Walters, the head coach at Purdue, and he's actively been looking for minority candidates to be a GA at the quarterback position, because that's the pathway of you getting to be an offensive coordinator. There's the NFL Quarterback Summit that guys like Brennan Marion, the offensive coordinator at UNLV, Corey Patterson, associate head coach at Purdue, they are getting the opportunity to participate in that. So there are things in place that can help coaches, things that they have to be a part of, but you have to be adamant. You got to get on your agent. You got to get on your head coach. You got to get on your athletic director to continuously put you in the positions so you can have those opportunities to showcase yourself in front of the major decision makers that football has.
Carl, if I can give you a quick story about when I started coaching, I got a good life lesson on that. But one of my head coaches told me, say, hey, listen, you can play DB, you can coach a defensive back, but I'm not going to hire you as a defensive back coach. I want you to start out as a linebackers coach so you can understand fits and understand the defense from the second level. Then I want to hire you as a defensive line coach now. Little old me, understanding hat placement, gap placement, filling that body position, having an eye key, vision key, pressure key, so you can now understand. But Kevin Higgins also did me a super, super favor by allowing me to work as quarterback camp every single summer. And what I took that as, I'm going to study how to coach quarterback just in case if there's ever a job that opens up on the offensive side, I know how to block it, I know how to score it, I know how to scheme it up and play and have a good career as a coach. But I switched out quickly. But as young coaches, just understand that you have to become versatile. You have to be able to coach on one side of the ball and the other side of the ball. If you're a DB coach, I'm telling you, you can coach receivers. If you're a receiver coach, go learn what's going on in that quarterback room, because the second that you put your head in there, you now become more valuable to everyone. So you just don't get put in that one box where you see every single receiver coach sitting down at the receiver symposium, and when you go over to the quarterback symposium, there's a lack of us over there.
For somebody to do that for you, they'll have to care about you more than they care about themselves. And we both know that doesn't happen all the time.